The global financial system holds secrets worth trillions. Estimates suggest that between $21 trillion and $32 trillion in private financial wealth is hidden offshore. For decades, the undisputed king of this shadow empire was a small, neutral nation nestled in the Alps, Switzerland. Its name became synonymous with impenetrable bank vaults, numbered accounts, and a confidentiality so absolute it seemed sacrosanct. This wasn't just about discretion. It was about power, protection, and the silent movement of wealth that shaped empires, funded wars, and shielded fortunes from the prying eyes of governments and creditors alike. What made Switzerland the ultimate haven for the world's money? And how did its ironclad secret finally begin to unravel? This is the story of how a nation built its wealth on the art of keeping quiet. Switzerland's journey to becoming the world's premier wealth manager began long before the modern banking era. Its neutrality, enshrined for centuries, allowed it to escape the devastating conflicts that ravaged its European neighbors. By the 18th and 19th centuries, Swiss bankers were already managing fortunes for European aristocrats and merchants, building a reputation for prudence and stability. But it was the tumultuous 20th century that cemented Switzerland's unique position. The two world wars, economic depressions, and the rise of totalitarian regimes in Europe created an urgent demand for a safe harbor, a place where assets could be shielded from expropriation, political instability, and capital controls. In this chaotic landscape, Switzerland offered an oasis of calm. The pivotal moment arrived in 1934 with the enactment of the Swiss Banking Act. Article 47 of this landmark legislation criminalized the disclosure of client information by bank employees, elevating bank-client confidentiality from a mere ethical duty to a legal imperative, punishable by fines and imprisonment. This wasn't just a business strategy. It was a constitutional pillar designed to protect account holders from Nazi persecution and later from Cold War politics. Swiss banks like UBS, Credit Suisse, and Pictet became global giants, offering unparalleled discretion and an almost mythical sense of security. With the 1934 Banking Act firmly in place, Switzerland's financial services sector boomed. The system perfected methods that allowed clients to maintain a high degree of anonymity. Numbered accounts, where only bank officials knew the client's identity, became legendary, though they were never truly anonymous at the bank's internal level. Bearer shares, once common, further complicated tracking ownership. After World War II, Switzerland became the receptacle for an estimated $2 billion in Nazi gold and an untold amount of wealth from tax evaders globally. Its neutrality, once a shield, was increasingly seen as a convenient cloak for illicit funds. Through the Cold War and into the late 20th century, Swiss banks became the preferred destination for a diverse clientele: legitimate high-net-worth individuals, multinational corporations seeking tax optimization, but also dictators, drug lords, and corrupt officials eager to hide their ill-gotten gains. The vast sums flowing into Swiss vaults, managed by institutions like UBS and Credit Suisse, made Switzerland a financial superpower disproportionately large for its geography. International pressure began to mount, slowly at first. The United States, facing its own massive budget deficits and a growing awareness of offshore tax evasion, became particularly vocal. A pivotal moment arrived in 2008, when former UBS banker Bradley Birkenfeld blew the whistle on the bank's systematic efforts to help American clients evade taxes. Birkenfeld's revelations led to a landmark deferred prosecution agreement for UBS, which paid a $780 million penalty and agreed to disclose the names of thousands of U.S. account holders. This was unprecedented. The Birkenfeld scandal, coupled with the 2008 global financial crisis, intensified the hunt for untaxed offshore wealth. Governments worldwide, reeling from economic collapse, saw offshore accounts not just as a legal loophole, but as a direct threat to their tax bases. the narrative shifted dramatically. What was once hailed as sacred privacy began to be branded as complicity in global tax evasion. The era of unquestioned Swiss banking secrecy was visibly nearing its end. Each new scandal, each leak of client data, chipped away at the foundation of Switzerland's financial fortress, signaling a coming reckoning that would redefine the very nature of discretion. The ultimate turning point arrived in the form of two seismic shifts in international financial regulation. The U.S. Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act (FATCA) of 2010 and the OECD's Common Reporting Standard (CRS), also known as the Automatic Exchange of Information (AEOI). FATCA compelled non-US financial institutions to report information on U.S. account holders to the IRS or face severe penalties, effectively extending American tax law across the globe. Switzerland, after initial resistance, signed an agreement to implement FATCA in 2013, effectively ending its ability to protect American tax evaders. But it was the AEOI that truly dismantled the centuries-old edifice of Swiss banking secrecy. Endorsed by the G20 and implemented by the OECD in 2014, the AEOI mandated the automatic exchange of financial account information between participating countries. Switzerland, recognizing the inevitability of global consensus, adopted the AEOI and began exchanging data with dozens of countries in 2018. This meant that the veil of absolute secrecy, once enshrined in Article 47, was definitively lifted for tax purposes. No longer could individuals simply deposit funds in Switzerland and expect their home governments to remain ignorant. The game had changed fundamentally. Today, the Swiss banking landscape looks dramatically different. The days of absolute, impenetrable secrecy for tax purposes are over. Switzerland remains a global leader in wealth management, holding an estimated 25% of all cross-border assets, a staggering $5 trillion, but its competitive advantage no longer rests on secrecy. Instead, Swiss financial institutions emphasize their stability, their long history of expertise in complex wealth management, and their diverse array of specialized services, from asset management to succession planning and private equity. The focus has shifted from merely hiding money to sophisticated, compliant wealth preservation and growth. While discretion remains a core value, it operates strictly within the bounds of international tax transparency standards. Clients are now expected to be tax compliant in their home countries. This transformation has forced Swiss banks to innovate, attracting legitimate, high-net-worth individuals and families seeking prudent, long-term stewardship of their fortunes. The era of the numbered account as a shield for illicit funds is largely consigned to history. The global financial system is, in principle, more transparent, and the pressure on remaining offshore havens continues to mount. Switzerland's journey demonstrates that even the most entrenched financial traditions can be reshaped by global consensus and persistent political will. The story of Swiss banking secrecy is a testament to the enduring tension between privacy and transparency in global finance. For generations, Switzerland provided a unique sanctuary, a place where fortunes could truly disappear from public view. Yet, under the relentless gaze of international scrutiny, that fortress of silence eventually yielded. The world's money still flows through Swiss vaults, but the rules have fundamentally changed. The hidden empire may be less hidden, but Switzerland's legacy as a custodian of global wealth, redefined and resilient, continues to shape the future of international finance. The question now is not where money can hide, but how it will be managed in an increasingly transparent world.